Really quickly before I get started, this is my contact information. If any of you guys need to contact me, here it is. It'll also be at the end of our presentation today. But let's go ahead and get started. Again, thank you, Coach West, for that awesome introduction. I really appreciate that, and that really means a lot to me. And I'm also so grateful to be here today and to be a part of this webinar series. So shout out to Coach West and Coach Healy for having me today, and thank you guys for joining me as well. Some of my G League players are here. I know that. Awesome. And then new players that was as well that I haven't met. I'm super excited that you guys are here. So welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little bit about me and about G League, and then we're gonna go into some action steps that we can take today so that we can be prepared for our at-home workouts. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the skills and drills that I put together for you guys. We'll briefly run through them. And then after this webinar, Coach West will actually send you a YouTube link that you can reference if you have any questions on the drills or you're not really sure how to do the drill or what it should look like. I went through all of the drills and demonstrated them and made a YouTube video for you guys to use. So that will be available as well. So let's go ahead and get to know me a little bit more. I am from Sarasota, Florida, just like Coach Healy or Coach West said. This is a picture of downtown Sarasota. Sarasota is so beautiful. I love being near the beach. Still currently live here. This next picture is a picture of Baby G. I started playing basketball when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and this picture was taken in Italy. As you can tell, that basketball is kind of funky. It doesn't really look like a basketball that we use here. So that's that. That's when I started playing. And then like Coach West said, I went to Florida Southern. I graduated in 2017 with a degree in business administration. And then I wanted to have some fun with you guys and share my hidden talent. So this picture right here is a picture of me on a unicycle. That unicycle is actually not a regular size unicycle. It's a 5-foot unicycle. So that's my hidden talent. That was taken in elementary school. Our PE teachers, or my PE teachers at my elementary school, would put on a circus with our PE class. And I was very intrigued by the unicycle and wanted to learn how to ride it. So I learned that there. And I'm actually curious to know if you guys today have any hidden talents. So hit up that chat and let me know if there's anything that maybe people don't know that you know how to do, because I'm curious to know about that. And maybe Coach West can share with that, share your talents with me at the end of this. And then I love sweets, so I had to put on my favorite dessert, chocolate chip cookies, Otis Spunkmeyer specifically. Now, I know we're not in school right now, but when we do get back to school, if any of my Florida people, my Sarasota people have Otis Spunkmeyer fundraisers at their schools, let me know. So I want you guys to know that. I love chocolate chip cookies. And then, of course, balance is important. So I wanted to put up my favorite healthy food, which that is an acai bowl. I recently learned how to make them from home. They're super easy. So that's something that I've picked up recently, and I love it. It's super healthy and super fresh, and it starts my morning off. So now that you guys know a little bit about me, let's go ahead and jump into G League. I want to share with you guys what I do and what G League is really all about. So G League is a youth basketball rec league located in Sarasota, Florida. And by rec league, what I mean by that is that we have teams, and our teams will practice once a week and play games on Saturdays. So that's kind of like our dynamic and what we do within the rec league. And we've only been a rec league for a year. I started G League last February, so we haven't ever really had an opportunity to do camps just yet, but I'm really looking forward to that and eventually doing camps in the near future. But right now we just started with games, and hopefully we can add camps. But like I said, I graduated in 2017, so I kind of bounced around from a couple of different things, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then while I was trying to figure that out, I really discovered that basketball was still a huge part of who I was, even though I graduated and wasn't playing anymore. I really missed basketball. So I started G League because I wanted to give back to youth players in our area, and I wanted to create a basketball experience that was memorable and rewarding, something that kids can get something out of. So I want when my players come to G League, you know, even though it is a rec league, I still want them to learn basketball. We're here to have fun, but I also want them to learn. And then I also wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I think it's super cool that I was able to figure out a way to combine my passion and business. So personally for myself, that was something that was really important, but I really love being able to give back to youth players and share my knowledge and experience with them. So that's a super awesome plus. So this is our first season. Some pictures from our first season. As you can see, we started with only 2 teams, 8 and 18 players, and I could not leave our mascot out. Everybody loves Cooper the Hooper, so there he is with his G League shirt repping. And then after our first game, we celebrated after our first, or not after our first game, but after our championship game, after the first season, we celebrated with Che and cupcakes and Gatorade. And then something that was really special to me is that all of my players gave me a signed or I had a basketball that all of my players signed and gifted to me. And shout out to Coach Cox, who's standing there in that picture on the right. He was the one that kind of organized all of that, and that's something super special and that I'll always have. So this was our first season, and then a picture of where we are now. So this is G League now. We have, as of January, so our winter season was in January, we had 10 teams and 73 players. So we went within, in only a year, we grew from 2 teams to 10 and from 18 players to 73, which is so awesome. And I'm so thankful for that growth and just to be able to have that impact on the basketball community in Sarasota. So another thing that's really important at G League is community service. And I try to do at least one community service event each season. So that's a picture of us at a race handing out waters to runners. As you can see here, we have our middle school division. So we went from 2 middle school teams to 4, and we only have girls middle school right now. And then our elementary school division, we grew from 0 teams because we only started out with middle school age players. We grew from 0 teams to 6 teams. So that is super awesome. Our elementary school division is co-ed. So eventually I want to have all ages, boys and girls from, you know, kindergarten all the way through high school. And as you can see, our mascot team has grown. There's a picture of Cooper and his siblings, Rit and Blue. They're our mascots in training. And then Coach West got to visit G League, which was super awesome. We're so thankful to have her, and the players had so much fun when she was there. So hopefully Coach West and you know, Beyond the Game Academy and G League can link up in the near future to put on a camp in Sarasota. That's definitely a goal of mine, and I would love that. So let's go ahead and get started today with the reason why you're here. But before we do that, I want us to reflect. Okay, so let's just reflect for a moment. So first, let's think about the last time you were on the court with your team. Go ahead and think about that. When was the last time you were on the court with your team? So for me, as a coach, the last time I was on the court with players was March 12th. Now go ahead and think about the next time you'll be on the court with your team. Now I know we're still in this period of uncertainty and there's really not much light at the end of the tunnel. So my guesstimate was maybe June or July at the earliest. I'm not really 100% sure, and I know a lot of us aren't. So after we've thought about that, and after we've actually realized that, let's go ahead and ask ourselves these 2 questions. First being, if I were to step back on the court today with my team, would I be in shape or out of shape? And then the next question I want you to ask yourself is, would my skills be 2 steps behind or 2 steps ahead? So after you get a chance to think about that, I want you guys to know that if you answered that you think you'd be out of shape, or you feel that your skills wouldn't be where they were when you were last on the court with your team, That's okay. You know, none of us are perfect, and sometimes we fall behind. But what matters
Okay.
the most is that you guys are here today, and you've taken that step, and you've taken that responsibility in your game to um, you've taken that responsibility in your game, and I'm proud of you for doing that. So let's go ahead and start with our first action step. So like I mentioned, we're going to go through 3 action steps today that can maybe help us get on track for those of us that feel like we've kind of fallen off track. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, action step number 1. Is being mindful. Let's think for a second. How are we starting off our mornings? Now, I know we're all stuck at home, and most of us, we're not most of us, well, if we're youth players, we still have school, right? And college, right? I don't know when college ends. I don't even know what month we're in right now. Is it April? It's April. So we're still in college, right? So maybe you have classes online. Now think about this. Are you waking up and, starting your morning off with social media? Because I know for sure I'm guilty of that at times, because my alarm is on my phone. So as soon as I reach over to shut my alarm off, I grab my phone, and it's just like a natural habit to hop on social media, which isn't really a productive way to start my day, because sometimes I wind up laying in bed longer than I should just scrolling. So think about that. Think about, are you, waking up and getting on your iPad playing games or videos? Are you watching Netflix? Are you sleeping in? Are you unorganized, not making your bed when you wake up and starting in a clean space? You kind of have no plan or really routine. And are you skipping breakfast? I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes I do skip breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast eater, but it's super important to fuel our bodies for the day by starting with breakfast, and not just fueling it with breakfast, but fueling it with a healthy meal. So now that we've thought about that, let's take a look at this. If this is something that your morning might look like or might consist of, let's go ahead and crumple it up and throw away our unproductive distractions. And let's start with a clean slate. So I created this well-being journal for you guys and for myself, because we're all stuck at home right now, and I know that I need to get back on track myself. So I created this well-being journal, and it consists of 5 components. So the first one is gratefulness, which is something Coach Healy and Coach West talk about a lot in their webinars, if you guys had a chance to watch them. The second one is achievements. The third component is being mindful of our bodies. And then the fourth component that is abbreviated, the QOTD, that's actually abbreviated for quote of the day. And then the fifth component is my motivation today. So I created this journal so that we could start off in a positive mindset and really get ourselves prepared to be successful for the day. So after this webinar, actually send you guys a PDF of this so that you can go ahead and put this into your morning and practice it. So here's a little example of mine. I filled mine out this morning, and I'm just going to go through like one thing from each component, so you guys can read the rest if you wish. But today I am grateful for technology. That's one thing I'm grateful for, because if it wasn't for technology, we wouldn't be able to be here today. So I'm super grateful for that. And something I'm proud of yesterday was finishing that basketball video for you guys so that you can refer to it, the YouTube video, after this webinar. And then something that I did to take care of my body this morning was eating a healthy breakfast. I started off with oatmeal and strawberries. And then my quote of the day that I thought really kind of goes with what we're going through right now is, tough times don't last, but tough people do. I really like that. I was looking up quotes. I love looking up quotes, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a quote of the day. It could be a motto. You can write anything in there that's like a phrase or a motto that's going to get you going, that you really relate to. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a quote. And then my motivation today was listening to an uplifting video on YouTube about getting out of your comfort zone. So this is something that this webinar has definitely gotten me out of my comfort zone because I've never done anything like this before. So I don't know about you guys, but I love YouTube videos, motivational YouTube videos. If you type that in, just type in motivational YouTube videos online. If you're having a bad day or you feel kind of lazy or unmotivated, those videos will really get you right. I mean, the voices, whoever does them, they have great voices, and it's just, you're ready to like take on the world after listening to one of those videos. So
Facts.
I suggest you do that if you ever need if you're ever needing some motivation, because let's be honest, not every single day we're going to wake up feeling motivated. Not every single day we're going to be excited for our workout or to work on our skills from home, especially when we're not even getting to play any games. We're just practicing, and we all know that everybody loves games. So sometimes we need that extra motivation. So maybe it's a YouTube video for you, or maybe it's music. I tried working out the other day and I had zero motivation, and I wasn't even pushing myself. I was like listening to the negative thoughts in my mind, and wanting to do what was comfortable, which was not go as hard as I could during the workout. And I stopped. I went back inside. I got a speaker, brought it outside, and turned on some music. And all of those negative thoughts went out of my mind, and the lyrics just started coming in. So that's another trick that I do sometimes when I need some extra motivation. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So the third step is, well, actually, I'm sorry, second step of our action steps is finding an accountability partner. So I know I'm going to share this workout with you guys, and then this video will be sent to you after the webinar. But I really encourage you guys to reach out to your team after this. Share this workout. Don't share it just with one person. Share it with your entire team, or share it with anybody that you know that plays basketball. And then choose an accountability partner that is going to make you better. Choose someone that's going to push you. Or if you're easily motivated yourself, choose someone on your team that you think you could help by sharing this with them. And you can help by being their accountability partner, because, it's important to be a leader on your team as well. So think about that. And then once you do share this with your team or teammates, and you pick your accountability partner or group, it doesn't have to just be one person, it could be a group of you guys, make sure you go ahead and plan a day to check in with them. So don't just pick an accountability partner and never talk to them, because that's not going to help. Make sure you choose an accountability partner, and then pick a day or days that you guys could meet. Maybe it's once a week, you guys are going to FaceTime each other, or you're going to call each other, or maybe it's 2 or 3 times a week. So I really suggest and recommend that you do that. And then what else? Pick a day. And then I also wanted to share with you guys this study as well that I found online about accountability. So meeting with an accountability partner increases
my neighbor
of success by 95%. So let's read that one more time. Meeting with an accountability partner increases your chance of success by 95%. So you're almost 100% likely to achieve any task or goal that you have by sharing it with your accountability partner and then meeting with them. So that's kind of like a no-brainer, right? So, and then the last step is record data. Now, the workout that I made for you guys, I already set it up so that you can go ahead and record your data from your workout. And I think it's so important to record data, because if we're not recording anything, how are we measuring our improvement? We really can't, especially if we're not playing games right now and competing against people physically. We don't really know if we're getting better or worse. So make sure that you really record your data. Take advantage of that. I built it all out so it's easy for you guys to use and understand, and then reference, and then put in the work, because if you do, the results will come. But you do have to be patient. That is key. And sometimes it's hard to be patient. We want things to come just by working on our game, and it doesn't take once or twice a week, or it doesn't just take working on your game from home for the first 2 weeks after you receive this workout. You have to work on your game consistently to see those results. And then positive results equals pride and fulfillment. So if you're if you're tracking your workouts and measuring them, and you get to go back and reference them and see how you've gotten better, then it kind of gives you that encouragement and gives you that fire to keep going and to keep wanting more out of your workout and out of yourself. So think about that when you're recording your data. And then, of course, if you're not getting the results that you want, make adjustments. You always have that option to make those adjustments and push and maybe work and do an extra workout a week or an extra 2 workouts a week. Or maybe, stop binging Netflix or don't watch that one more Netflix show. Get outside and dribble or do anything that you can to, work on your game. And of course, share your results with your accountability partner and have fun with this. You guys can go ahead and compete with each other, share your results, make it competitive. I know we can't, like I said, can't compete in games, actual physical games right now, but we can compete in maybe our workouts and share how many shots we've hit from certain spots on the court. So that's why, recording your data is super, super important, and it can really help you as a basketball player. So let's go ahead and jump into the workout. I want to share it with you guys. There's going to be 3 parts of the workout. So the first part is the warm-up, the second is dribbling, and then the third is shooting. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share with you the drills that I put together. Okay, so here is our warm-up. I want to teach you guys how to read this so that it kind of flows and makes sense. So the yellow lines are the drills. As you can see, there's 4 listed. So the first part is the line drill. The second is the box drill. And then the third being wall sits. And then the last drill for the warm-up is bicycle abs with a basketball or tennis ball. And just really quickly to touch on that specific exercise, if you don't have a basket, if the basketball is too hard to use, like I said, use a tennis ball or any type of ball that's smaller that you can fit between your legs. So if you don't know how to do these specific drills or you've never heard of them before, I would encourage you to refer to the video that I made on YouTube that will be sent after this webinar. So don't want to go through everything. It's going to be on the video for you guys to just reference if you have any extra questions. But the purpose of this warm-up is to work on our footwork and agility, our defensive slides and closeouts, leg strength, and then of course toning our abs. So this workout, lastly, one more thing I want to point out on the warm-up is consists of 3 rounds. So you want to do all 4 of these drills without stopping, without any breaks, without any rest. And then after that, you can go ahead, take 30 seconds or so in between, grab some water, and then jump back into the next round. So you really want to generate a sweat doing this, and you want to get your body warmed up. Now, the second part is going to be dribbling. So there's 4 dribbling exercises here. First one being wall touches, second, 2 hard bounce moves, third, tennis ball drills, and then fourth, a freestyle number game. So like I said before, these drills are in the video on YouTube. And then the 4th drill, the freestyle number game, I'm going to go ahead and explain that to you really quickly. I also wrote it down on the video. There's a slide explaining it. But what you're going to do, you can use this drill to with a partner if you FaceTime them or if you have a sibling or parent. And you're going to want to pick 3 moves for this drill. So 3 basic moves. I picked a crossover between the legs and behind the back, and then you're going to number the moves. So you can number them 1 through 3, or you can color code them. So you could say crossover is blue, between the legs is green, and behind the back is black. So that's a little bit harder to remember, but it really challenges yourself and forces you to really think while you're dribbling. So that's like kind of maybe an advanced step, but either or, you can number them or color them. And then once you have them numbered or colored, go ahead and have your partner, your friend, if you're doing it on FaceTime, or parent or sibling, call out the number. So if someone calls out 1, you're doing a crossover, and you're doing that crossover, you're crossing the ball over back and forth until a different number is called out. And so you're doing crossovers 1, and then 2, go ahead and switch to between the legs, and then 3, switch to behind the back, and then mix it all up and then go faster. So don't just say 1, 3, 1. You can say that to warm it up, but then start saying the numbers a little bit faster, and then it gets harder to kind of hit those moves. So that's a fun game that you guys can do over FaceTime. And one more thing I forgot to point out, in all of these drills, we have suggested times or recommended times. Now these are going to be dependent on you and what condition or what shape you're in. So go ahead and, if it feels too easy, increase your time. And then if it feels too hard, do what you can and record it. As you can see here, I have the recordings that you can put for your time and number of catches. Like for instance, on the tennis ball, record for how long you do it. Go ahead and write your time right in there. And then say if you're doing it for 1 minute, write down how many times you can catch the tennis ball in 1 minute. And if these drills are super, super new to you, don't use a time. Just use a number. Say you want to get 10 to 15 or 20, just depending on how old you are, catches. And just say how many catches. Just write down how many catches you did instead of the time that you did it for. Because if you only do it for 1 minute, or you only do it for 30 seconds, and maybe you're a youth player and this is super new to you, and you only get 2 catches out of the 30 seconds, it's kind of not so helpful anymore. So if you're really finding that you're messing up a lot in the drills, get away from the time and just set a number and go from there. And then once you get comfortable with it and you're not making a lot of mistakes during it, and you can actually get good reps out of it with using a time, then go ahead and time yourself. So just keep that in mind when you're doing it. And then of course, for dribbling, we really want to focus on our hand-eye coordination, our quickness, our explosiveness. So you'll see under the exercise tennis ball, number 3, if you go all the way down to the bottom and you see the chase down drill, that's explained in the video, but that's a really great drill to work on your first step and your explosiveness. It's kind of like playing catch with yourself. You're just going to start out dribbling the ball with one hand and then toss the tennis ball or whatever kind of ball you have out, and go ahead and try to snag that ball on only one bounce and keep throwing it further and further each time, and challenge yourself to be there quick enough to pick up the ball with it only bouncing once. So that's a cool drill. That's a fun one, and you'll see that. You can refer to that in the video, the YouTube video. And then the last part of our workout is shooting. So you'll see we have 5 shooting drills. There's one more slide. So the first one being form shooting, which is super important at any level. I've done form shooting, still till when I was even in college. That was a part of our practices. We would start out with form shooting. And so that's super important for your shot, especially if you're younger, developing your shot and developing the correct form. And then once you have developed your form, maintaining it, because it's muscle memory. So the more you practice it, the better you're going to be and the better your shot's going to be. So I always encourage people to do form shooting. My favorite thing to do in basketball was shoot. So that's my favorite drill. And then the next one is mic-in. And then the third one, block to block, and then 4 X out layups. Again, don't worry if you've never heard of these before. They are in the YouTube video. And like I mentioned, form shooting, we want to work on our muscle memory and just working on getting our shot right. Mic-in, working on footwork and layups underneath the basket, because it's super important to make sure we're going off the right foot. Not the right foot, but the proper foot on your layups. And then block to block is a great drill to work on quick shots underneath the basket, working on your form, working on getting set into your shot and squaring up to the hoop. And then the X out layup drill is a really great drill to work on your explosiveness and really trying to get to the basket in one dribble. So we have one last part of our shooting, which is 5-spot shooting. So the 5 spots on the court, the right corner, the right elbow, free throw, left elbow, and then left corner. So you're going to do 3 different movements from all of the spots. So the first one being just spinning the ball out to yourself, catching and shooting. The next one being spinning the ball out to yourself and ripping below your knees, pulling up for 1 dribble jump shot. really focusing on that first step being quick. And in the video, you see that I put a chair out in front of me. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted the chair to act as a defender. And it's really helpful if you use a chair because you can see where you're going with your dribble. So once you give the chair I almost said defender. Once you give the chair a shot fake and you take that one dribble, you want to make sure that dribble is to the basket and going past the chair like you would in a game. If a defender's in front of you, you want to make sure when you shot fake, you go right by them. You don't want to take a step to the side because your defender can easily recover and pick you back up. So use that chair as a defender and as a guide to make sure that your first step is towards the basket and not just to the side. Let's make sure we get somewhere on our dribble. And then the last one is, the last one is, sorry, I think I may have messed up. The second one was rip, still get past the chair. And the last one was the shot fake. Sorry, my bad. So the rip below your knees, one dribble pull up, still use a chair for that one. You'll see I did in the drill. Like I said, make sure you get somewhere. And then the third one is the shot fake. So spin the ball to yourself, shot fake, one dribble pull up. And when you are using the chair and you're doing it, switch it up. If you're doing 10 shots from your spot, make sure you go five right and then go 5 left. Don't just go one way the whole time. Make sure you're going both ways and you're practicing on, putting that ball on the ground, going right, putting that ball on the ground, going left. So that is it for our shooting drills, and that's it for the workout. So Coach West will be sending you a PDF of the journal, the well-being journal for you guys to fill out in the morning. She'll also be sending you a PDF of these workouts so that you can go ahead and track them. And then lastly, she'll be sending you a link for the YouTube video that you can reference after this in case anything was maybe confusing or you didn't understand or you've never even heard of it before and you're like, what the heck is this drill? So go ahead, feel comfortable to reference that. And then if you have any other questions, feel free to, reach out to Coach West or reach out to myself. We'll go to my contact information at the end of this in case you missed it in the beginning. So feel free to shoot me a text or send me an email if you have any questions.
Yeah, G, this was fantastic. And, like I said, this is all going to make sense to you. I did send out this PDF to them prior to
that's right.
This, the webinar. So maybe you guys had a chance to look at it. So you kind of know what she's talking about. But for those that don't, say you're looking at this and it completely doesn't make any sense to you, that's totally cool because the video will link up perfectly to this workout, like she said. So G was out on the court doing all these drills. You can see she has legit skills when you watch the video. But if you have any questions, go ahead and watch that video. And then if you have questions on top of that, then reach out to us. We'll help you in any way we can. But this is, an amazing guide and everything. Like I said, game speed, right? I always say game speed. You can go through this, 50% and not get much from it. But if you go game speed, this is a legit workout. You want to get in shape, you want to be ready for that time we get released out to the world, you go hard at these drills. For the youth players, we got quite a few youth athletes on here. She mentioned form shooting. Some of us might not be able to hit that rim quite yet, and that's okay. You can just practice, that beef, just that form, right? Just rolling the ball up off your fingertips. And that's completely fine for form shooting to start out, just so we can get a little bit stronger. But again, if you guys have any questions with this workout, feel free to reach out, let us know. I just think it's a great, workout for us to do at home and be creative. If you don't have a tennis ball, I know someone reached out and said, well, what if we don't have, the materials, if we don't have cones, you use chairs, you use t-shirts, if you don't have a tennis ball to toss, like wrap up a tape ball, make a tape ball and toss that out. But be really creative with these workouts and just do the best that you can. And if you do the best that you can, that's all you can do. But we did have some questions, G,
let's go
for you. And one of them, Caitlin, thank you for And feel free to chat, send questions in this chat right now for the last, 10, 15 minutes. So Caitlin asked, what was the biggest setback that you overcame?
That's a great question, Caitlin, and I'm happy to share that with you. So this might come as a surprise, but my biggest setback was actually my sophomore year, towards the end of my sophomore year. I was, well, before I start with my sophomore year, let me just start by telling you my freshman year, I was playing at the College of Coastal Georgia. So my freshman year, I was in Georgia. And then after that, after my freshman year was over, my coach got a coaching position at Florida Southern. And I decided that I wanted to go with her. So I wound up transferring to Florida Southern. And let me tell you, before I get into Florida Southern, my freshman year at Georgia was the best. I had a great year. I had a great team, great teammates, awesome friendships, super close, super connected with my team. Just really had an all around awesome experience, and I loved it. And my coach transferred, and I really loved my coach too. And so I knew that it was the right move to go to Florida Southern because Coastal was an NAIA school. And I knew that, Florida Southern was NCAA Division II school. And it was an opportunity for me to play at a higher level. So it was a no-brainer that I had to leave, especially even considering that I had great friends and a great team and we were winning and I had great relationships. It was a no-brainer that I deserved to push myself and try to compete at a higher level. So I decided to go with Coach, and I'm thankful that she brought me with her. And that year was really tough. That was my sophomore year, and we were not connected as a team. I didn't have good friendships or relationships really as I did my freshman year, and we weren't winning. I think we won like 13 or 14 games that season. So it had been a losing program that, my coach was trying to turn around. And I was like super lost, not having a good time, missing Coastal, and just feeling really uncertain and really down, and just kind of that poor me attitude, and which is, we get that sometimes, and we can actually have that right now with what we're going through. So I had that mindset. I was overweight. I wasn't passing my classes, and I just wasn't in a good headspace. I wasn't in shape physically. And I decided, I at that time I thought, I think it's right for me to go back to Coastal. I'm super unhappy here. I'm not myself. I want to go back to where where all my friends are, where I had the most fun and where I felt the most comfortable. So I told that to my coach, and she had kind of known that because she knows me, and she could tell that, I was off. And so I told her that, and she was really helpful and really great about it, and said that she would reach back out to the coach and see what she can do. And that night I was super upset. I mean, I had been crying. It wasn't a good situation. But that night I was like, what am I doing? Why am I wanting to go back to something that's comfortable instead of push myself? I knew that Coastal was comfortable. I had friends there. We were winning there. I was playing well there. But I also thought, you're really selling yourself short if you're running from this difficult time and you're really not pushing yourself. So I had all of those thoughts going through my head. I was super uneasy. I was so uneasy that I texted my coach at 4 a.m. That's how uneasy I was. And I told her, I said, can we please talk? And at that point, I had been off the team. I mean, I just told her I didn't want to play here anymore, and she was reaching out to the coach at Coastal. So texted her at 4 a.m. When she eventually woke up, she texted me back, and we got together and we met in her office. And I told her, I think I'm making the wrong decision. I don't want to go back there. I want to stay here. I need to stay here. I told her that, and she said, well, G, you're not on the team right now. That was my decision. And I said, okay, well, what do I need to do to get back on the team? I'll do anything. What do you need me to do? So she said, well, one, you need to lose weight and get in shape. And I said, okay. And then the second thing she said, you need to pass your classes. No, not classes, but class. I was failing a class. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So that was like our postseason. We weren't in season anymore. This was postseason. So we were almost going into summer. So I went into summer. I went into the summer. So that was the summer going into my junior year. I went into that summer with my mindset, right? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to pass this class and I'm going to get back on the team. I mean, I had hoped I was going to get back on the team. I didn't know that. So there was a lot of uncertainty going into that summer. And then I had an accountability partner, which is true. I had to check in. I had to send my meals. I had to send pictures of my meals, pictures of me at the gym working out. I lost weight. I got in shape and I passed my class. And so I went back to school towards the end of the summer. Florida Southern was hosting a camp. I talked to coach. She could visibly see that I looked like I was in shape and I lost weight. And I told her that I was passing my classes. And then the rest is history. I was able to earn my spot back on the team and my scholarship back. Thankfully, I'm so thankful for her for allowing me, back on the team. And I just want to let you guys know, had I not done that, I would have never been a regional champ. I would have never made it to the Elite Eight with my team. And that year, my junior year, we made it to the Elite Eight. We weren't supposed to do that. I won a regional championship. I have my own personal NCAA little replica trophy that is like my favorite basketball award. And we flew out to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we competed in the Elite Eight. We lost in the first round, but we came within 4 points of beating an undefeated team that had blown teams out all season by like 20 plus points. And so even though we fell short in that first game, that was literally the coolest thing I could have ever experienced and been a part of as a basketball player. And had I done what was comfortable or what was easy, I never would have experienced that. I never would have had the trophy. And who knows if I would have even graduated from Florida Southern, because that school was really expensive. So
Yeah.
I don't know where I would have been.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, so I, did a webinar a few weeks ago. Colleen was on last Wednesday, and there's so many athletes, that it's a struggle. It's not this, athletes that achieve success and win championships and go on to do, great things. It's not this like smooth path, right? There's obstacles, there's down moments, there's struggles. There's moments where you're so close to packing it up and walking away. And I will tell you, I've been there. Colleen, the other co-director of Beyond the Game, has been there. Those are the moments where you dig down deep and you find a way to get through it, because you don't know what's on the other side. And most of the time, if you're at the bottom, right, and you've gotten to that dark place where, man, you just don't see the light, and you find a way to push through it. I think of all the great things that have happened in my life. It is all came from like dark moments, and those moments where you're just ready to, call it quits. And, I think that's a great lesson, G, that, when you're playing sport, and even during a season, you have many ups and downs. You don't understand some of the coach's decisions. Maybe a teammate is, really bothering you, or maybe not caring as much as you do. We got to find ways to overcome, situations like that, so we can stick to our goals and our visions for ourselves and for our team, and kind of find that way. We just got a really great question, actually. Mackenzie, thank you for tuning in. And she wrote, one of her questions is, any tactics to push yourself in these hard times, during like right now when you're kind of feeling useless? And, one of the things with that I can answer is, now is, I love G's workout, because now is a time where you can take this workout and you're not going to get the pat on the back. You're not going to get the good job. You're not going to get, where people can see you and see that you're improving. This is all on you, right? This is, you got to be able to kind of understand. And I talked about this in my webinar. This is not a time of relaxation. Sure, we had moments where we had things taken away. We lost a lot. And some of us are still losing a lot. this is really hard. I'm on week 6 of staying indoors. I have not been outdoors for not even a walk in 6 weeks. But I still find ways to take care of myself. I still make sure I get my workout in every single day. I dig deep, I sweat, I'm constantly learning, and nobody knows what's going on. So I think, we have to, our thinking process needs to change a little bit, where we got to get out of that poor me, things have been taken away, to action. What can I do to make sure that I'm better, right, when I get out of this situation? What are the action steps that I can do now? I just got G's workout. I can work on that. I sent a skills workout a few weeks ago as well. Can work on that. We got Amber coming up, fitness, guru next Wednesday. She's going to give us a workout. We'll have that tool. I can work on that. And so I think it's about taking action and not kind of sitting back. But that was a great question. And I know Colleen is on here listening, our other co-director. She's going to pop on real quick because she has a few things that she wants to say.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my camera off because I didn't do my hair today for the call. So, one real important point is everyone who's been successful at anything has a story like Coach G, has a story like myself, where there's a dark time, you start to second guess yourself. And the difference is they decide, I'm going to see if I can do this. I don't know what the outcome is, but I'm definitely going to grow along the way and get stronger for trying. And that's the win. And so everyone on this call, if you just are willing to see what you're made of, 99% of people just aren't willing to do it because they're afraid to fail. So when we talk about confidence, like what builds confidence? The willingness to take a risk, trying out for the sport, trying out for the varsity team, whatever it is, putting the work in to increase your odds that you might make the team. But even if you don't, the fact that you tried, because a lot of your teammates or classmates won't even try because they're afraid to fail. And nobody really understands that building confidence means just getting out there, showing up, giving it your best. And then you realize, even when you don't make the team or things don't go well, hey, that wasn't so bad. I survived. I'll just get better and I'll try it again. And so one other thing I want to say about how do you make the most of now, I work all day. I'm taking my classes. I have a class tonight, but I reward myself. If I work out during the day, which I do, then I'll reward myself with watching an episode of my favorite Netflix. So, now that we are home, write the thing you want to do for the day. You can either use Coach G's, which I think is really great. Plan on doing something that's going to build your confidence. How do you build confidence? I shoot more foul shots. How do I build more confidence? I work on my free throws. Or I work on my ball handling. I build confidence by what I do every day, but reward yourself. Say, man, I did my free throws today. I wrote them down. I'm going to go watch, whatever that is. And so I reward myself that way. I feel confident when I start watching Netflix that I earned it, rather than spending the entire day watching Netflix and I go to bed and feel like I haven't done anything. So that's one of the ways I keep myself accountable, is do the things I really want to do to better myself today. And then at night, I turn my brain off and I reward myself by turning my brain off. So those are the things that I'd share.
Yeah, no, totally agree with that. And I think it's important that we remember to reward ourselves, for the work that we've done throughout the day. One more question, Coach G, and then we're going to wrap it up because it's almost 7:30. So Ryan reached out and said, as a player, how did you contribute to your team to help them win?
Ryan, thank you for the question. That's a great question. So there's ways I've contributed on and off the court. So let's talk about on the court. On the court, I think the way that I've contributed to my team is probably by preparing, working on my shot, working on my game, so that when I do get in the game, I'm hitting my shots, I'm contributing, I'm helping us win. Another way is just knowing what my role is on the team and doing it, whatever my coach wants me to do during the game or needs me to do, whether it's something on the bench I need to do from the bench or something that I need to do on the court, just really getting into that role and accepting your position, because your coach isn't putting you in that position to be mean. Your coach is putting you in that position to win and to succeed. So whatever your role is. And if you're not happy with your role, then that's okay too. Sometimes we aren't happy with our roles, but we have to understand why we're in them, and we still have to work and do our best from that role, whether it's on the bench or on the court. And if you're on the bench and you want to get on the court, then you got to put in that work. So I think that's one way that I've contributed, working on my game and just understanding my role. And then off the court, I've contributed with a lot of car rides in college. I was like the taxi. We always, if we were ever going out to eat, I was just, taking my teammates wherever. Not all of us had cars, but that's, one way, just being kind, being supportive, being a good teammate. So those are ways to contribute. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really.
Yeah, I'll just kind of, to go along with that, G, there's a million ways we can contribute to a team, right? Everybody thinks of, well, I need to have playing time in order to contribute to a team. But I know, as well as, Coach Healy knows, you don't need to be playing minutes to contribute to a team. You don't need to be scoring 20 points a game to contribute to a team. I think every player, no matter if you're playing a lot of minutes or not, has value. Now, the choice is, when you receive whatever role coach gives you, are you willing to do what's best for the team? Because a lot of athletes decide that they're not willing to do what's best for the team, and they rather want to do what's best for themselves. And so I think it's really important that we all understand, and you understand as an athlete, we all have value. No matter if we're sitting the bench or if we're on the court. And you make the decision of what kind of value you want to bring. Is it a value where it's a poor me attitude? So-and-so's a better player than me. She's getting more playing time. Coach doesn't like me. Is that the kind of role that you're playing? Or are you, okay, I'm finding my role. I'm on the bench. I'm not exactly where I want to be. I'm not happy with my role, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I play that role to the best that I can. And I'm going to work really closely with coach to find out what coach needs from me. And I want him to know, or her to know, that I want more, right? That I want a bigger role, that I'm going to bust out of that role and bring more to this team. And I really think it's a mindset and it's a decision that we choose to make as athletes, right? Of how we're going to contribute to that team. So one more quick question. What happens if you had a great warm-up and all your shots are falling, you're feeling good, but then you step foot in the game and none of them are falling?
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you talk to any athlete, it's happened to us all. Every single one of us, more than once, multiple times, right? Where you're feeling good and then game starts and it kind of just, everything falls apart. That's okay. The thing that I'm going to ask you, Emma, is what's your mindset when that jump ball goes off, right? What changes in your mind? Because a lot of times when that happens, game's on and you're on stage and it's ready to perform, and it all kind of, you get nervous, you get anxious, you worry about making mistakes, right? You don't want to mess up for your teammates. And then when you start to overthink all of that, that's when mistakes start to happen. So use game time, whatever that mindset is that you have during warm-ups, you feel good, the music's playing, you're rocking out, whatever it is, play that in your mind as soon as that ball gets tossed up and game starts. Because a lot of times, like I said, it's that mindset, right? We switch our mindset to, and then one mistake becomes two mistakes, and two mistakes becomes three mistakes, and it's this spiral. And so it's catching yourself in those moments when that starts to happen, and stop it and talk positive to yourself. We use that Beyond the Game Academy. We call it a focal point. So when you make a mistake in a game, you miss a big shot or you miss a wide open layup, whatever it is, bounce the ball off your head, you find something in the gym. And it's in a gym that's in every gym, whether it's the center of the court, maybe the front of the rim, and you look at the front of the rim and you say three things to yourself, whatever three things you want to say, right? If you missed a shot, you look up at that focal point, I can, I will, next play, right? It's just something you quickly run in your head to change that mindset from negative to positive, right? I can, I will, next play. I'm going to move on. Made a mistake, so what? Basketball is a game of seconds. You don't have time to sit and worry about your mistake. Move on. So on that note, G, it is, what time we got? 7:33. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for everyone that kind of tuned in. Yes, Amber Gopper will be next. Feel free to register for hers. Go on to your next slide, G, so everybody has your contact information. You're going to receive an email from me within probably the next 15 or 20 minutes. That's going to have the video. You're going to have the workout. You're going to have all of G's contact information plus all of ours. So you have us at your disposal. Use us. Ask us questions.